welcome to In Hindsight, where we showcase local New Mexico. We put our 2 cents in and talk about our hot topic, and also, am I the a-hole? I'm your host, Day.
I am Angie.
I'm co-host Dina.
And of course, we always have Rito and Octo.
Yay.
And it's like winter stuff in Albuquerque. It's not as freezing. I just came back from Denver.
Right.
So like when everybody's just like, oh, it's gonna snow. And I'm like, is it like snow? Is it like snow? Because I'm freezing. But it did like snow like in the afternoon, and then now it's kind of
Right.
Yeah. So, and like, honestly, I don't like walking in the cold unless I'm walking my dog. But like, for events in Albuquerque, I try to do indoor stuff in the winter.
Yes,
I mean, unless it's like picture perfect. So like the off-center community arts is really cool because they actually offer a bunch of classes. Like on Thursdays, they do crochet, they do puppet theater, they do sewing, and like some of their classes are actually free. So like you just like, so like they have like different days for different things, and it's from children to adults.
Where's this at again?
It's the Off-Center Community Arts. I will
okay.
definitely link you the thing. And then if you go to their website, they actually like show like they also have like paintings and stuff because they have paint classes, so you can actually like show your
It's just
family.
like a lot of activity there.
Yeah, it's like
a lot
it's
of fun.
really nice because it's a community center. So like they have like they always have like classes and events almost every day, even on the weekends.
Wow.
And it's like perfect for like it's perfect for single people. It's perfect for adults. It's perfect for children. It's perfect with family, because like in the winter with those like winter breaks.
Yes.
Just like my friend Rebecca, she's just like, oh my God, I forgot that like I have to have like activities every day.
Yeah.
You know?
I had my first snowball fight this morning with the dogs first, and then my little guy, I take care of my grandson, right? And I have to be young at this. I just have to, because you cannot be that boring grandma, And I'm not going to be that boring grandma. So anyway, he threw a snowball at his sister. She's like, oh, and I just picked up a snowball and I started, and I'm like doing the torpedo, and watching it fall on him. He's just looking at me, no. So we had a huge snowball fight in the front yard. It was so much fun.
That does sound like fun.
Yeah.
And,
I loved it.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of the cold either,
Yeah.
just like you. I like indoor, and I'm glad that
No,
all
but
those
that's
activities are there.
You
but
just like unlock childhood core memory unlock.
yeah, and then,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you don't get snow in New Mexico a lot, okay?
You really
I'm
don't.
talking like Albuquerque.
Yeah.
It's too warm, it's always rainy or muddy or whatever, or sometimes it's just dry.
It really does.
It's just dry.
The second place,
So I'm really happy to snow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The second place that actually people don't know is that the University of Mexico has like I think 3 to 5 different museums in their
Oh,
campus.
okay.
So and like because people are just like I can't bring children to a museum, they'll get bored. They have a meteorite museum, and I think like kids are like they're obsessed about like galaxies and all that stuff. It's just
Yeah,
like the fact that this rock came all the way like because like they have like the classy like the gallery stuff, and it's all free. All of the museums in University of New Mexico is all free, and like I think like if you have kids, make it like a day trip, ride the bus, right? So it's fun because the buses are free now. Have like a bus ride, go to the museum, spend like a couple hours, and then go to the little cute shops and restaurants in like around Nob Hill Central area, because they have like Cold Stone ice cream and like the range. So like you don't have to spend a lot of money. So it's like almost like a downtown central kind of like little cute trip, like on the weekends or on the weekdays even. So it's like a whole day. You can do a whole day there.
That'll be so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I like museums. I do mostly the Natural History Museum because the dinosaurs, and I really get into that more than I think the kids do.
Yeah.
But it's okay. And I have to go to this, I buy all the stuff and have a lot of fun with it. But I think it's a great idea for a full day just to have fun.
Yeah. And it's also like, it's always nice to have like some free stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that like, money can't buy happiness. It can. But, Christmas just got done. Everybody's broke. Valentine's is around the corner. You know what I mean? Then you gotta be saving. And, like with the inflation, like money's tight.
Yeah.
So you gotta entertain them. You gotta even if you don't have kids, like you gotta entertain yourself, because you can stay at home only for so long. Even my husband is an introvert. Eventually he'll be like, let's go to movies or something.
Yeah.
And things starts adding up before you know it. Especially if you have like children, or even as an adult, it adds up real quickly.
Yes, it
so
does.
So you gotta be a little bit, you gotta be a little bit strategic sometimes.
Even when you
kinda
think
like-
you're saving money, even when you think like no, seriously, I'll go to the Dollar Tree and I think, okay, I'll buy a bunch of things for $1, but now it's $1.25 or whatever. Okay, so I go and I buy these decorations and I'm ready to go. By the time I'm done, I've spent $100.
I have spent $200 at the dollar store before.
Right?
I was like,
it's
how
embarrassing.
did I
it's
do
like,
that?
oh my God, I paid $1.25 for a little tiny bag of, Cheetos, hot Cheetos Crunch, whatever. But I'm getting back to Valentine's, sorry. But, I'm that old-fashioned person where love is free kind of thing. So I do a lot of cooking at home. I'll make cookies and make a dinner because I really don't want to spend money on Valentine's Day. I just don't. And so I encourage the homemade cards, crafts. You know how you like to do things like that? My kids get into that. They get into that. But the museums, I'm so into that. Like the zoo, I take them, to botanical gardens, and I do that, especially for a lot of exercise, because
It's walking.
my kids are full of energy.
Oh yeah, they need to be tired out. They're Sharknadoes. That's what I told Dina. You have like 3 Sharknadoes. But that's the thing. It's just like, because like we think it's just like, oh, children are not gonna like museums or anything. But it's one of those things where like if you instill that on them when they're young, it's not about like the activity. We forget that like they actually like spending time with us.
Right.
So like, it get like their curiosity going. Because even like, my nephews are like trying to be cool for school. They're like 10 and 14 now, they're trying to be cool. But like even now and then you see like this thing of like, oh, like Tita is asking me like questions about like my interests and stuff. And in our head we're just like, am I being cringy? Like, am I asking too many questions? You know what I mean? But then like, it's weird to think, but then like when I ask them later, it's just like, oh, what did you like that what we did? Like, when we go back, like when we went back to South Carolina, yes, they had fun with the activities and stuff, but they just like spending that much time and like being able to see like a different part of the country. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes we forget that like they just want to spend time, and like, and how would you know what they like if you never expose them to different things?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like
they have to be
I
exposed.
never thought they would like Meow Wolf. I thought they would, but they're boys and they're cool. They're like, oh, whatever. But like they were like so happy and excited because they're just like, oh my God, Tita, like we've never been anything like that. It was like really cool. Like you go to the chimney, and that's one of those things where like you forget that they are still children. Yes, they try to be cool and they try to play like they're little adults, but like but when you unlock that like childhood core memory, that like you're just like, oh, I actually did well.
But you know what? Speaking of Valentine's Day, they love you. So you just taught them something about your love, your passion of what you love, and they're going to love it because you love it, because that's part of them, because it's part of you, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's perfect. It's a memory that they'll always have, and you introduced them to that. I get excited because my kids, all my grandchildren, my kids, music, art, anything I could, and I know they would take their own path, but guess what? I did it. It was there. And they can never, like I always say, don't ever stop yourself. The other day I was talking to someone about my running, and they're like, you don't feel good. And I said, I don't care. What if I can't run tomorrow? I want to run today. I have to. It's just me. But man, what an experience for them.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's just like, I think also is like, because it's just like when I live in South Carolina and like New York and now living in Albuquerque, because I live here, sometimes I forget about like the magic and like, because like you live in grind, right? So you forget that like people come here to visit and do things. Because like I was living in New York and everybody's like, oh my God, like aren't you excited? And I'm just like, no, I live here. I see these things all the time. Because that's the thing. I see these things all the time and I have, I have access to them.
Right.
That I forget that like not everybody does. Like some people have to take like PTOs and like have to plan their vacations to come here.
Right.
And I forget that there's just like, oh yeah, because I live here, I have access to this. This is like magical and awesome. It's nice to be like, and that's why, like, when people are like, oh, Albuquerque is too small. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We have a botanical gardens, a zoo, like, mall, in all, like, within 20-minute range.
Oh, don't forget, we have a beach. Just kidding. Tingley Beach.
But that's the thing. It's just, like, I feel like we kind of just, like, disregard those kind of stuff.
Right.
And I forget how nice to have those amenities, because I did live in like a small town. So like we live in Goose Creek, which is like about 30 minutes away from Charleston. But Charleston's not a big city. It's a beach town, a tourist town. So we do have some museums and stuff, but like it's not like, what New York or Denver can offer. But the fact that like Albuquerque has enough things to do for adults, singles, and children, the fact that like I was able to entertain a 10 and a 14-year-old boys, I was just like, I got this. You know what I mean? I have achieved something. Yeah. I mean, like, girls, I think, like, my goddaughters, they're, like, so easy to please. I'm like, I give them a lip balm. They're like, thank you, Dee. That is the best lip balm. You know what I mean? My nephews are just like, they're like, yeah, that was cool. I'm like, I just spent $700.
Oh, but that's how guys talk, though. That's their excitement. I always want this glee and this jumping up, and I'm so happy, and it's nice. It's cool.
It's cool. It's not mid.
The only time I'm really cool is when I'm playing Fortnite. That's the only time I'm cool. But it's okay because I die fast and I get out of the way. But it's all right. It's all right. My feelings aren't hurt.
So funny.
Just saying.
Yeah. But like since we're talking about like children and family, we're gonna segue to like our hot topic today, because it is interesting to me. Because if you think about it, like especially now with technology and social media, like superstitions, right? Because I'm Asian, so like my mom, like has like specific superstitions growing up. But then like being around like different cultures of people, like having like Black friends and Asian friends, and Middle Eastern and Middle Western and Americans, like it's funny how different. Because even my husband, who's like he's a big Colorado fan, so he follows everything Colorado. So like. He's a CU buff because he wants to see you, and he's a Denver Broncos fan because that's what he grew up with. Right. He's an Avalanche fan, so it's just even for men that's just like I wear the same boxers for like.
What about Rockies?
Oh,
Is he a Rocky fan?
Yeah, so you know what I mean, like or like
Colorado Rockies baseball.
Yeah. So like what I'm saying is just like they were just like I will always like drink the same drink when I'm watching the show, or like like I would never.
Oh
be,
yeah.
That kind of stuff, because it's funny because like it's like little things that you don't think is superstitions, but it is.
Yeah.
So it's like my mom, like growing up, she would tell us, she's just like, oh, you can't sew at night, it's bad luck. Or like you can't sweep at night because you're sweeping, everything's good outside of the door.
Are you kidding me?
Because in the Philippines, like we sweep outside of our door because we live in the city. I mean, we have like a duster thing, but it's like, so there's like this little things, and I knew I was a brat even when I was young, because my mom will always tell this story. She's like, oh yeah, even when Denise was like 9 years old and we were living in the Philippines, she would tell me in English, Mom, there is no scientific information about that superstition.
I was just thinking, my little guy said there's no scientific evidence.
Yes.
Peer reviewed.
Yeah.
And I said, wait a minute, because I'm getting fancy now with my little machine, the phone, right? I'm like, let me look this up. And I find it, and it's a learning moment for him. Yeah. That's when I get their attention, when you were talking about the boys, or, and that's how I get the attention is I'll look something up and I'll act like it's nothing, because that's how it works now. At least, you act like you're not doing anything.
Right.
It's not important. And they're like, what are you looking up? What are you looking for? What is this? Oh, this. I mean, we even have the daycare asking how come every child that is related to me asks why for everything, right? And the reason why they ask is because they get answers in our house. They're used to why, and they get an answer.
We literally have an Alexa. So like when my nephews are just like, because they're obsessed with soccer
Yeah.
and stuff or like things. So it's just like, I will like, Alexa, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, because I have her in a British accent. So she's like, oh.
Mine is too.
It's like, this is a good player. It's like, and that's the thing. It's just like, I think it's interesting because like there's superstitions about pregnancy. There's superstitions about weddings, marriage, engage. Because like I remember when the solar eclipse happened, and like a lot like Albuquerque kind of had like a lot of the news station had that thing where like, because like for Native Americans, they don't believe that like you look at the eclipse, it's like bad luck, it's like sacred kind of thing. So like they would not watch like the television broadcast of like the eclipse because like they have certain traditions and superstitions about it.
Yeah.
So and it's like just like acknowledging that, I mean, it's like it's their culture. So I think that's like really cool. But it's just like it's interesting to me how different culture has like a history of like some kind of superstition. But like I said, it's like in sports, like how did that came about? You know what I mean? Like when guys decided, because like I was just literally just watching, there's this family, they do like YouTube videos. So like the literal video was just like my dad left to go to the bathroom and we're so mad because we're losing. And then when he came back, they literally got a touchdown.
What?
So they got an interception and then a touchdown.
Right.
And then the wife and the mom was like, "You're not leaving, okay?" Because they were just like, "Remember what did we talk about? When we go watch the game, you don't leave. You don't leave to pee. You don't leave for nothing. You have to stay in your seat. That's why we don't get drinks, So it's just like, look, like we almost lost because you left. And it's so funny how like we think that. I'm like, we have no control over that. We're not even playing. These are like professional people that are getting paid millions of dollars.
And I'll be do this fumble, and I'll do flea flicker, hey, Hail Mary, do it.
Yeah.
And then it'll happen. And my husband's just like, how did you do that? I don't know. He's
It's
not
a-
like, he doesn't really talk like that. I'm being, I exaggerated that.
No, but I
sorry.
think it's funny because like how do we come about? Like it's just like because when my sister's pregnant or when anybody's pregnant, my mom will say things. She's like, "Oh yeah, you're not supposed to drink this, and you're not supposed to like do this. Like you're supposed to sit after a certain amount of time. You're supposed to eat these things, to like for the baby, so you can have a boy or a girl." And I'm just like, yeah, that's not a thing unless like I go because like when I did IVF. They're able to tell you what the sex of your baby is.
Right.
So unless you do it like in a scientific way, they tell you it's just like, if you have sex in certain positions or certain days or certain times
Or
or
sweet
certain
potatoes.
places. Oh yeah. So you get like, and I'm just like, yeah, that's cute, but like having a boy or girl is always a 50% probability.
No,
Right.
it's not actually.
See?
There are certain times. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this or not.
No, but that's the thing. So
But it's during like a 3-day period, when she's ovulating. I believe male sperm swim faster. So if two people come together right when she's ovulating, then it's more likely to be a boy. But then they get kind of died out. So then if she ovulates a little bit later, then the girl's sperm gets it.
that's always interesting.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's like I'm not debunking it because like I just feel like everybody's entitled to their own opinions and ideas. But because like we did IVF, we learned like so many things that the doctor told us. So like also like what people forget or like people don't know is that men decides the sex of your children.
They always do.
And that's why like when like my cousins were like, "Oh, I all have girls," and I was just like, "Yeah, you did it. That was your fault. If you wanted a boy, you should have produced the boy." You know what I mean? That's all on you. Like you're
I
the
don't know
reason
what
why.
I don't know what happened in my life, but I have 5 kids, right?
Yeah.
And it's girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. I never decided. Never said, but anytime I talked to my husband and he asked me what I wanted or I asked him, he would say, and I would have it. Don't know why. Don't know how it happened, but it did.
But that's the
And
thing,
I was
yeah.
grateful.
You can just say, "You're welcome."
Yeah.
You're welcome.
But I also feel like there
You're
are
welcome.
things like it's not that we can explain because there's placebo and manifestation.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Those kind of things. You also can't say that those things don't work because for some people it does. And like, who am I? Like, it's one of those things. It's like, who am I to tell you
Yeah.
that your thing is like, a crackhead idea in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's working, and also like if it doesn't affect me, who cares?
What about Friday the 13th?
See, the thing is just like
That's a superstition.
yeah, in
Yeah.
Asian tradition, 13 is actually lucky.
And guess what? My mom told me I was born on Friday the 13th all my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't walk under ladders. You can't walk under a ladder. That's bad luck, right? Did you guys ever hear that?
I heard it.
See,
No.
it's like us. See, we don't have that superstition. Us, it's like you don't walk. Like how like you lay down on the floor, you don't step on a person. If you step on a person, you have to go back.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have to go over.
Yeah,
because-
when you go over, because how like I'll be laying down, or my husband will be laying down, and then I'll walk on top of him. If I walk on top of him, I have to like walk back on top of him. Like you don't walk on top of someone because that's like a bad luck.
What about black cats?
See, that's the thing. It's just like it's funny how like black cats came about
They
because
cross
like,
your path and someone's going to die.
yeah, but like in like history time, like in Egypt time, cats are actually very very lucky.
Right.
And they're like so beloved that they would like bury, like they would have to be buried with their cats.
Right. And they actually did the same thing. What is that? Mummify them?
Yeah,
They
because they
mummified
believe
them.
they believe that like I don't know if you've seen that movie Constantine with Keanu Reeves.
I did.
Remember, they said that like cats are lucky because they're in between. Because you know how like animals do
Yeah.
random stuff, and you're just like, because like I know like I'm not saying that like there's no supernatural
No,
or stuff.
I know.
But the fact that's just like there are some things like this. So like when I walk my dog, he looks across the street from like a specific street, and it never fails because like we don't do the same route every time. It kind of changes a little bit, so like he doesn't get bored. But every time we go on the street, he always looks across the street. So I'm always just like, is there a rabbit there? Is there a lizard? What are you looking at? Like he always like walk and looks at that street, but no one is ever there. And I'm just like, what are you looking at? What?
He
So-
senses something.
yeah.
They have good sense.
Have you ever let him walk over there? Just walk over with him and see where he goes?
We did, and it's like there's nothing. Like there's literally nothing, and that's why like I'm like, what is it about? What are you? Is it a tree? Is it like a plant? Is it like
They
honey?
can sense danger.
Yeah.
So if they're pulling you away from something, they don't want you near it because if it's bad for them, it's bad for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes they just do craziness. I take my little girlfriend, my little pie, she goes running with me, and there's times where she doesn't want me to go around a certain way, and I don't. And I just say thank you. But, she can't make it the whole run, poor baby. But, hey, I'm a little stroller, so I ride her in my stroller.
I don't think they make enough strollers for mine.
No.
Oh,
Guys.
no,
You might need 4. You
Yeah.
can lay across.
You might need to go get one of those mall strollers.
I have like the wheel wagon. You know?
There we go.
The wagon.
Yeah, because like the thing is just like
Just
when,
put a tent over it,
Yeah.
like that.
when my husband gets annoyed with my dog, he would like lift him up and then kind of carry him because he can. My husband's 6'1" and he's big enough.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm like, but I can't do that. Like I literally can't.
Throw them over your shoulder.
No, he's like I'm only 20 pounds heavier than him. I'm not an ant. I can't carry 20 times my weight.
Well, it's workout season, It's time to work out.
That's why I walk in for 2
Want
hours.
to go with me to the gym? We can go to the gym. Start lifting some weights.
I should though.
Yeah, I'm
I
going to
just feel like-
choose. I'm going to start going to choose because they have classes there, and I love spin, and I haven't done any of that in so long because everything is so far away, and except for choose is not. And I thought, wow, they have a good deal right now, so I'm really happy about that. It's like, you don't have to pay any fees except just the monthly thing.
Yeah.
And I love having classes, so I do the pump up, I do the spin. It's just a lot of fun.
The thing is, like, I wish, like, I have that motivation. Like, I'm always jealous of those people. Because, like, people look at me and they're like, oh, you must be, like,
Don't be
you must
jealous.
like, yeah, it's like
Don't
you
be
must
jealous.
exercise and like diet and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't. This is a facade.
Okay, how many
This is a
times do you
lie.
eat a day?
I feel
How many
bad for
times?
my dog because I snack throughout the day. There's like this video of just
I
like
ate all day too.
yeah, of like the
See,
dog. The dog
and
is,
unlike you guys who can have your fabulous tacos and do all your stuff, one hamburger, I can't eat much. And I gain weight very quickly. It's so easy. So I have to
couldn't eat
work
a
it
whole
off.
Hamburger though, like there's no way. Like when I eat all day, it has to be smaller and like protein.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
Yeah.
one hamburger I can gain a pound.
that's crazy.
That easy. My body, I've just been used to it, and I don't like.
Oh, but you have.
I
yeah,
don't
you-
like the
yeah.
fight of losing it, so that's why I work out. It's not about anything else, and plus I get stress free, because man, after I run, it's like hello.
Yeah. Well, the
Oh,
thing
you
is,
want
like,
me to make cookies? Yes, let's do this.
People like talk about this like endorphin high, and I'm like, where is it?
Right? I've never felt
Oh,
it.
you have to
Where is
cross
this
over.
endorphin high?
You have to cross over. It's
I'm
called,
sorry. If 2-hour walk with my dog is not enough, I'm not doing anything more. Okay? Like
Right? I've never felt it either. I don't know if it exists.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. I
It
don't
does
know.
exist,
Maybe it's a myth,
and
but
it's
I-
amazing.
But like, do you guys have like personal superstitions that you actually do, or?
Yeah, no, see, I thought I was born on Friday the 13th. I thought I was bad luck all over the place. I found out when I looked it up, when I was old enough to think for myself. I was born on a Thursday, so that took that one away. But I made sure, like, not to, the only one was the ladder thing. I don't know why that stuck in my head. There's a lot of other stuff. I just
But I
can't think
can
of
kind of
anything
see
right
the
now.
logic on that because like you don't walk because like sometimes they're like in those times like ladders are not necessarily balanced
Stable.
out, right? They're not
Yeah.
stable. So like also like you just want to stay away on things that can fall on you.
Right.
And I think I can kind of see like some of like superstitions because like one of the things that I told my husband is like because we have like a home ec growing up, like my teachers constantly like terrifies us of this idea, like you always have to put a thread on the needle or you have to like put it back on your cushion because if you lose it, if you step on it or something, it will go through your skin and into your like bloodstream and it will kill you. And now that I think about it, I'm like, how would I not know that a needle is coming inside me? A needle is at least this long. It needs to really, really penetrate. And it's like, I was just like always constantly scared that like a needle would like, penetrate my skin and it would go to my heart and I die. Now that I think about it, I'm like, the possibility is like really, really slim.
My son wrestled and played baseball for El Dorado High School. And this was long ago, and I hope he doesn't hate me. But he had these underwear that he had to wear for every game, for every wrestling match. I didn't know this. I picked him up, I look at him, and I think, oh my God, there's holes all over him. I threw him in the trash. He was so mad at me because I did that. And I said, I'll go. I went, I hunted him out because if it meant that much to him, I mean, he was a pitcher. He pitched 93 miles. I wasn't about to be the one to screw it all up for everybody. Can I say that word?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, but anyway, yeah, superstition, all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, I personally don't believe in superstitions, but I do believe that a lot of them came from things that kept people safe back then.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think it's like a lot of like, and also like in Asian culture, like we have this thing of like, believing our ancestors because like how do you survive, right? Because like, like most of the things are like very men oriented.
Right.
Right? So like, and like the really only way for women is like our community. And it's
Right.
also like, I think it's also like, there was like a study of like, like gossip is bad. But like, I think what it is like, it's not that gossip is bad. Bad gossip is bad.
Right.
Like the way women actually find community and how we like strengthen our bonds is through talking. It's like you're telling me that like I can't talk to people. That's like the worst thing you can tell me. I think it's like, of course, like when you talk ill will of other people, that's why it's bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I
Right.
think like gossip is like getting like a bad rap because it's just like, it's just bad taste to talk about other people anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think like that's what it is. And I think that's why like a lot of the superstitions like kind of just, I'm I don't study it or anything, but I think that's what it is. It's just like to keep other women safe. You know, if I had a pregnancy back then, and if I thought like there's a certain food that maybe could correlate it, of course I would try to avoid it. Because how would I know? There's no Alexa or Google or anything at that time. We're literally just testing everything.
I'm a true believer. My superstition, I guess it would be karma, right? That, like, I never wish bad, or I try not to ever wish anything bad upon other people, or do things that are mean to other people, or gossip, like that, do unto others as you would have done unto you kind of thing, because I don't like it. It hurts my feelings, you know, when I receive it. I mean, seriously, it's just not a good thing to do. I agree with you 100%. I think that superstition needs to stay, because I need good energy, good vibes. I need to feel good about myself. Yeah, I'm a fighter. I will not slow down, but I will not attack either. Yeah. I just walk away and find more positive energy for myself.
And speaking of gossip and superstition, our drama for today is, am I the a-hole for refusing to listen to my superstitious mother and retorted in a way that offended her the most? So, family, superstitions, you know, gossip. So my grandmother has been switching between Christianity, Buddhism, and Taoism, I think, when she was alive. So my mother took a little after her. We may not have a religion in the family, but she had always been superstitious. Mm-hmm. It started with small things like do not hang out clothes overnight, do not point at the moon, and things like that. It has become more serious these days because apparently she has made some friends who practice the same things. She would buy talismans and hang good luck charms around the house, or forbid placing certain items at certain places. It can get annoying being told for setting off taboos for no apparent sense. My father was actually cool with that, saying that it's just small inconvenience to avoid bad luck. I've already gotten used of her ways, but one thing I cannot accept is to follow what she teaches. I think superstitions are ridiculous, and while my mother can believe in whatever she wants, she shouldn't try to force it on me. I am starting to just do whatever I want like a normal free thinker, atheist, and throwing out all those charms and talismans my mother asked of me to hang in my room. Of course, she gets upset every time I do that. My mother threw a big tantrum at me earlier because I refused to go to temple and kneel to repent for whatever spirits I offended, because I burnt a high fever for 3 days a week ago, and she was convinced that I must have offended spirits returning to Hell's Gate on the 7th month. She then told me stories of how people getting sick when they offend spirits, and it says when we go for an apology just to be safe. I have just recovered from my fever, and I'm still coughing, and I'm busy trying to catch up with schoolworks I missed, so I was in a foul mood. She hasn't been the least concerned about me when I was sick, and when she does get concerned, she thinks I offended spirits? WTF? I retorted something like, I am not going to apologize to some petty spirits getting offended so easily. Maybe that's why they're in hell. They should return to Hell's Gates and stop haunting people. My mother turned into a very bad mood, told me that I'm being a bad children, and my dad is also angry with me. Am I the a-hole?
Oh, that's
How
easy.
old is he, though? Because, okay, apparently he's still in school.
So he's in college. So he's in his 20s, I think.
No, that's another hard one, because while he should respect his mother's rules, there comes a time when they're like, a kid's 18, you can't really force your own beliefs on him. But at the same time, he lives under her roof. But he's already grown.
I have an
grown.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so get the movie Mulan. She breaks every rule that there is, you know, in Asian, because she's supposed to get married and they have all this. She's got a cricket, she got a dragon, she turns herself into a guy, you know, to defend her father's honor.
Shame on your ancestors. Shame on your
Seriously, I watched that movie a million times because I had to and I wanted to. There were times, you know, but I learned a lot. She still respected her mom, though. And so a man could still respect the parents if he's not living with them, he respects them just by abiding. He doesn't have to go further than saying, okay, I ask the spirits to forgive me. You know, that's just an easy way to respect his mother. That's a lot to say right now, you know, for kids or people of that age. But I do know that if you give them a little bit of leeway, you know, mom is more willing to take care of you if you ask the spirits to forgive you. You know, that's it. So if you're sick and mom's not taking care of you, that's why. And if dad's mad at you, that's why you're not taking care of mama by just saying, I ask the spirits to forgive me.
He should at least do it, I guess, until he moves out. You know?
Oh, but I thought he was going to university, isn't he?
Yes, but he's living at home.
Yeah.
Oh, well then, you know, I mean, but she's not with him all the time.
No.
You know, so
Right.
just at those little tiny moments, I mean, even my kids do that for me. They'll say yes or no, or I'm sorry I didn't call you, because the one I can't stand the text, you know, happy birthday, text me happy birthday. You can't, what? You know, I would see your face. Anyway, getting back to the subject, sorry.
Can you tell whose mothers are in this show?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Mulan was a perfect movie for me to show her, his mom that, and to learn for himself. I don't know, I think Disney did a good job. Just saying.
Yeah.
I wonder if they like have sat down and had a good family talk about this, and you know,
No.
like different
Well, yeah.
ways, like
It's like
he could
implied, right?
compromise,
Well, yeah. Well,
or
yeah. So this is the thing. It's like you guys are like Americans, right? So yes, I'm an American
What's
now.
an American?
Like
were born
you're
here.
born here.
Oh.
So like I moved here. I mean, I am American now, but like I'm like kind of like a half and half. I'm not Asian American because I wasn't born here.
Right.
So like, cause like this kind of topic resonates to our culture, especially Asian, because he did say like Taoism and all that stuff, like this whole spirit thing. Because like it's the same. Like even though we're Catholics, we're very very superstitious as Filipinos. So like there's a culture thing clash, right? So even if his parents were also born in America, or even if they are in America, like his parents are born in a different time, in a different generation values. If they are actually in Asia, that's even a whole different story.
So
because the culture there
Catholics-
is different.
Okay, like, did you do your first communion?
Mm-hmm.
And you did your first confession? Mm-hmm. And you did all the, okay, I did that. I did all that too.
Yes, but like in Asia, most countries are not Christians. It's getting bigger. So like, the thing is like, there's always like, my generation of Asians that are now raised here in America are completely different from my parents, right? Because like they were like first immigrants, and also like there's like the idea of like the first immigrants and the second immigrants kind of thing, because there's also different culture clashes. So like my mother was like always been strict. The only reason we have a good relationship is because like I'm an adult now,
Right.
you know, and I have boundaries. Because like the thing when you said about like, because like I always like play devil's advocate in this show. So the thing is like there's this thing of like as a parent, when I grew up, there's always this thing of like, this is my house, my rules, right?
Right.
So when my mom was staying with me and moving my shenanigans around and I can't find where all my spoons are, you know, I tell her, it's just like, this is my house, this is my rules, right? Because this is my house now.
Right.
You don't put curtains where I don't want them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but then I think about it of like, you know, well, you have to respect me because I'm your parent. That's how I grew up with. My nephews are not, my sister's not like that. Like she's like, you know, she's like, I have like a cooperative thing with my nephews,
Okay.
right? It's more of like, hey, if you do this, this is the consequences. More of like when we were a child, it's more of like, you did this is punishment, right?
Right.
So we were expected to like respect our elders,
Right.
because that's the tradition.
Right.
But you know how like when you're a child, you're not supposed to talk back to your parents. But then as an adult, you expect us to, you know, fight for ourselves, but we can't. We didn't know how we are when we were children.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have like boundary issues because we were told like hug this specific person or say thank you or say sorry, even though like we didn't mean it. We didn't want to, but we had to, because if we don't, we get punished. So like with my nephews,
Or you get bad grades.
yeah. So
Or you do terrible in school. I mean, really.
yeah, but that's the thing. It's just like how, because like I said, it's like he's also an adult now,
Right.
but he's also still living with the mother. So like, how do you? Because like this whole like
Get a
let's
job
have-
and move out.
yeah,
That's
it's
what you do.
Yeah, it's more of like, hey, let's have a family meeting. That does not exist in an Asian household. Like, I mean, with my sister, they do that with their kids now. But like I said, it's also culture and generational differences. And also, like, he's atheist. His mom is like, kind of like spiritual. That's like already a clash. When
He
you don't
won't- he
believe in
probably
anything
won't
and you believe
always
in something.
be an atheist. He's an atheist because he's rebelling. You know, he doesn't want anything forced down his throat. He wants to do it the way he wants to, you know, and the only way to get away with that is if you move out and you take care of yourself, and then your parents don't put their traditions on you. At least that's how I feel about it. I mean, if you're living in their home, you need to respect their home, and you need to respect their values, their morals, because it's theirs.
But that's the thing, is like with like, I mean, I don't even know when this is like done, but like I read a study that like more than 60% of children live with their parents after college because they just could not afford it.
Right.
Or they live in their parents' home in college because like it's just like rent and like housing market is just so expensive.
It really is.
So like that, but that's the thing, it's just like, I think I resonate with this because it's closer to my culture, so I understand. But like I said, it's like now my mom is more understanding, and like the way she sees how my sister parents, it's a tug and pull because she respects my sister, but she feels like my sister is giving too much to my nephews. Because my husband is actually more stricter than I am. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be cool. I thought I was never gonna be strict, and I thought, but then like now, like you know, like helping raise like my nephews and my goddaughters and being with children and stuff. And like working in a daycare, I realized I was more strict than I wanted it to be. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be really, really progressive. But you know, it's just like because like sometimes like when my nephews were staying with us, you know, my husband will like get mad. They don't like do it in them. Like we will have like our own separate talks, obviously. But like you know, we don't yell at them. We don't just be like, you know, when they made a hole upstairs, it wasn't like, oh my God, didn't I tell you to just like not play the ball in here? You know, you guys, I already told you guys, you know. But that's the thing, is like they don't know. It never
wait.
happens in their house.
But it would. If you had them 365 days of the year, you would find yourself needing to walk away because it gets intense, you know, being a parent or whatever. It really gets intense with, you know, with work, with all this stuff. But you have to remember too that it's not just the parents now. It's not just grandparents. It's not values and traditions and things like that. It's the new learning model that children are learning from. Okay, so like at school, if you're wondering, why is my kid needing a different subject every time I try to talk to him and he's having a fit? Well, because the new learning model is to sway them and not think about why they're doing it or talk to them or reprimand them, like take a time out or whatever. It's more of, let's go do this instead. Let's go paint. That's not my learning model. That's not something I want to do because I don't want to sway my child. I want my child to think. I want him to think about why and where and how and all the possibilities, positive or negative. I don't like the swaying model that they have, but that is part of when they come home. If you're not doing that model, that's what they're used to for 8 hours a day. If they go to school, because you know school's always out anyway. So anyway, that whole learning model, and then you have to adjust to what the teachers are teaching them so that they feel comfortable. So then that also goes into your traditions, to values, to morals, to all that. It just all flows into a big mess.
Yeah, and I think like also because like, you know, like our generations are clashing. Like even with
Yes.
me, it's just like I have to like step back, you know, because like I'm, you know, hanging out with like a bunch of kiddos, and sometimes I feel like I ask my husband like, am I cringy? Am I hanging out with too many kids? You know, do they think like I don't think that they
But you
think
can't
I'm
say
cool.
cringe in front of them.
Yeah.
Because then that would be cringe.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing. It's just like I think it's also hard because like we do want to instill the traditions that we grew up
Right,
with, right? Because
right.
there were like good moments about it, but I think communication is just really hard. I think that's what it is
Yeah.
because like as a child, I was always scared of my parents, and that stopped me from communicating with them because I always thought like I'm always gonna get in trouble. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm always gonna get in trouble. And I think even with my nephews, who knows that like me and my sister are very open, or even with their dad, they're always gonna be that fear as a child because I think we're trying to appease our community, right? And I think like not breaking down that spirit is I think what we're trying to do. And like I said, it's just like
It's getting
not-
more and more
yeah.
difficult.
I think it's not easy for children, and it's not easy for parents either because we're like, everything is different now. Everything
Right.
is new. We're like dealing with like a different world now. Right?
Well, yeah, and that's something I've stepped back to look at. I mean, if you're wondering, the socialization skill is gone. It's not gone, but to me, it's gone. I walk into an airport, nobody talks. Everybody's in their phone or laptop or whatever it is. And I'm not complaining about devices because that's our age. The thing is, I have to step back and understand the device. How am I going to go around this to make the socialization happen with, you know, my husband, my kids, my grandchildren, whatever. I need to find a way to go around it. I don't want to make my kids angry about devices or socialization, so I try to make it fun. And you know what? Don't worry about how you're acting when you're with kids. If you're having fun, do it. Like my snowball fight today. I didn't care. I was going to say something else. I didn't care what my neighbors thought. You know, sure, I'm an old lady out there throwing snowballs. Well, you know
thought
what?
that was cool.
Get your coat on and come and see how fun this is.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? That's what it's about.
I think that's why like it's always
me, anyway.
interesting when we do this like segments. I think it's also because like we, even though like we have similarities, we also have differences, right?
Right, right.
So, and like different generations and different cultures, and like I think it's always interesting. And I think the fact that like there is communication, there's not like, you know, like, hey, your idea is dumb. You know what I mean? Or like, you're so outdated. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Because like I feel like the way to really solve things is not just talking, but also comprehending.
Yes.
Right.
I think that's the problem.
Listening.
Because like if you are just talking and like nothing is getting through both ways, and you're just trying to make point for each other, that's not a conversation. That's just talking points.
That's like Charlie Brown, rah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the teacher?
Yeah.
Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like, you know, like I mean, what do you guys think? It's just like, you know, it's always interesting to me. But any local New Mexico businesses or any events that are going on, if you guys wanted to be featured or you wanted to be on our show, and so, you know, local New Mexicans will actually know about it, please message us. Follow us on all of our social media. We are all on the social media. And if you have a conundrum of your own, please send it to us through our social media, and we will talk about it on the show.
And maybe or maybe not that you might be the a-hole, but maybe you won't.
Yeah.
Let us figure it out for you.
And as for now, we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.